holding our breath. They're here. Oh, look, there we are. Oh, you had us for a minute. We thought you weren't there. Here, what's going on? You're meant to be next door.
I know. There's been a traffic issue. It looks like there's been a road accident on the way to you guys this morning. But this is really interesting. I have a knee-jerk reaction whenever somebody talks about Wilkinson or talk about shaving. Us women do this. It's a sign of getting old. I'm really sorry, but I can't help it. And then the thumb does that. It's not good. It's not good.
Well, look, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable. That's generally how I feel. Like, and it's now grows out of my ears. I'm a certain age where it starts growing out my ears as well. It just would stop.
Oh my!
Gross.
At least it's still on your head.
Yeah, well, yeah. That's
now.
That's a godsend, I suppose. Thanks, B. Hey, look. How are you? What's going on?
Well, we was this month, and we're trying to educate men around the subject of menopause, so that's been a big one. We've had like a funny old day talking about colour and the impact of colour, and what that means to us and what do we do, because we're both here in our black tops right now.
Blue, let's see.
I've got red knickers on. So we're going to talk about colour, and like there's a million conversations out there right now and a lot of stress in the world right now. So we don't want to talk about that today. We want to talk about managing your stress and being in this moment. What brings us joy?
Positive vibes.
That's lovely.
We love positive vibes, which is you two all over. There's positivity. We love that. Okay, well, look. Do you want Brian to stick around and throwing you under the bus? Well, or we just leave you to it. It's your choice. It's your show.
You can leave us to it, because we're on our soapboxes. So happy to do that if you want to, guys.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just like the old days, this, isn't it? Just hand over and then interrupt when we can't shut them up. Okay, great, lovely. Have a lovely show. We'll see you on the other side. Over to you.
Brilliant. Hi, and welcome to Woman's Hour. I'm Helen and with me is the wonderful
Pat Taylor.
Now, we're not only work colleagues, we're besties, and like we've known each other a very long time, haven't we? So sometimes if we get an opportunity to be heard and we're having a natter, sometimes people sit back and go, what on earth are they on about? Yeah. So we'll start today by kicking off. We're going to talk about colour. So, and this came about because Dulux have announced the colour for next year, and it's called Wild Wonder. That's where it's called. And it's inspired by nature, because the big thing that's going on in the planet that people feel this urge to that resonates with them at the moment is our nature. It's something we can connect with, something that's good for the soul, and a colour has been created to be a typical thing that we can match everything to. It's called Wild Wonder, and me and Pat then got on a subject, because I love changing the colour of my home, and we're in a housing crisis and an energy crisis right now. So I'm just trying to download the crazy of my brain, okay?
Might be a while.
It might
and you can see the green behind, the green tones behind us.
I love it. I think it's really important to be surrounded by nature, and to be grounded by it as well. Yeah. Because so my thing was, we got this energy crisis, but I need to make my home feel warm. So I used to live in America. A bit of background on me. First, I was an interior designer, and I lived in the States. And I was fascinated in America that literally seasonally, so some people would change the colour scheme of their home 4 times a year, or at the very least twice. And it was a really interesting thing. So when you watch American shows or films, there's always neutral colours on the wall. and to the point where you don't even really notice it. But actually, throws and cushions,
all the
candles, vases change. And I was really, really fascinated about it in the States, because that's not how us Brits decorate.
No.
So we decorate one theme and it stays that theme forever. But actually, it kind of makes sense. So, and I'm a big fan. So, you know, we've now officially in autumn. So I've got pumpkins and browns and golds. And some of this stuff fake candles as well, and it creates that hues of warms and golds and rust, and it makes me feel cozy.
We used to have a little tree, a nice branch, and at Easter we'd collect like little eggs and chicks and things, and we'd put that up, and then at Christmas it would change, and summer it would change. We don't have that anymore, but and I'll tell you who's really into colours and changing with the seasons is Stacey Solomon.
Oh really?
Yeah, she's brilliant. She makes pumpkins out of Joe Swash's socks and clothes and jumpers, and she'll make giant ones, and he goes mad. And she'll literally make pumpkins out of
because you knot the thread, don't you, and wrap it round, so you just have like a round ball of something.
And oranges and whites.
We could do a craft session.
We could. I love we're going to do a building session. We're going to do a carpentry session, aren't we? We're going to do some training because we want to build cupboards and things. And
I think apparently. I think we should. These are all the skills that I used to have. And now I haven't got a clue. So I think absolutely bring back those home skills where I can knock up a cupboard, fix something,
and a wreath for Christmas. That's what we did one year. That was really lovely, wasn't it?
So this comes back to how you feel. So we're talking about home decoration. And we do the same for clothes.
Yes.
So I know, and I was trained in this a million years ago, but I was once told that if you needed to go into battle, you wear your power colours, and red is a real strong colour if you are in front of people. And I've always taken that on board, and I think for a long time it became a thing. So because I'm very open about my mental health and how I manage my anxiety. But there's always that nod to red, which is just really sort of there as part of my toolbox of things to help me feel strong. So it's not just, makeup and hair and eyelashes. It's all about glamour, but actually it's all part of my toolbox. And the colour red is a dominant colour for me. It doesn't always have that reaction. And I remember doing a talk in invited to a woman's network in London, and you spend days thinking about what you're going to wear, and I ended up wearing a lovely navy dress that I haven't worn for a long time. I must get back, but red shoes. And I kid you not, there was over 100 women in this session this day, and they were all in black and grey and navy, because they didn't want to stand out. They'd all fretted about what they were going to wear, but every single one had commented on my
I remember
outrageous red shoes. And it was all about standing in my power, and I needed that colour. So
and the thing is, they'll remember you for that, for those red shoes. And it's good to be remembered.
And my mum used to say, "Red shoes, no knickers."
Well, we won't comment on that, will we?
And I've only just said I've got red knickers on today.
You did, so thank goodness for that.
So colour's a big deal, and I'd be interested to hear from any of our listeners as well about colour and how does it influence them. Are you aware of it, that you're inspired by colour?
I think I'm not bland. I love white. So in my house,
that's not bland. That's
neutral. So in my house, before I had the children, I would always, my husband would come home, and I would have painted the lounge or the dining room, everything painted. And I'd go through, and I'm not a green person at all, but like my lounge was a sage green, and we had navy, and then the dining room became green, a muted green, and then I went through a white phase and a navy stage, and now I'm back to navy. So my bedroom's navy, and my lounge is navy with my lovely new wood burner. And I've got to paint it because it's not the right colour. And I love that navy in my lounge. The navy, it's a French navy, and that's just an undercoat. So I need to get the right navy to match my beautiful wallpaper.
We need to post it, send photographs of your little project.
I am aware of colour, not as much as you. We drive through a little wooded area, and she goes, oh, look at that, look at the light coming through the shadows. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that's lovely. You're much more aware of it than I am, and once you pointed it out, and now because of it I am more aware, and I do love colour, but it's not at the top of my kind of, not my list. It's just
okay, another conversation that me and you have had recently. Pat told me that I had ADHD. So I'm 51, right? And I do have lots of different behaviours. I know that. And I think of later years, as I've got older, I can't tell if it's my menopause that are kicking off things, and I'm dyslexic, so I'm comfortable being sort of neurodiverse because I do see things differently. But then when she called, she like went, "You're ADHD."
No, I didn't. Let me explain. Let me explain as you go. So let me explain. In the car on the way to Truro, to Chaos, actually, this is what happens. So we'll have a download of information between us, and it's normally about the hubbies or the kids, and we get it off our chest, don't we? And the world is lovely, and we've set the day. We've got it. We've put it to one side, and the world is our day. But this particular day, Helen was like, I got to tell you this, and then I got to tell you this, and I did this, and I did that, and you did it the other day as well, didn't you? The other week. And I said
Friday, and I slept for 3 hours afterwards.
And I did, and I was like, Helen, and you did take offence, and I said, have you? And I don't think I said you've got ADHD. I think I said something about ADHD, meaning that you probably do have, but it came from a place of caring, because once you recognise it, it's okay. And I don't deal with you. I make allowances for Helen because of her little faux pas, shall I say. Certain little things, example. Like she's late for everything, and she's always got another day. She's got another hour that is just an invisible hour. So, and I'm early. I'm an early bird. So, and then it's procrastination, and it's like we've got a deadline, and Helen, or we're doing a presentation. And then it'll be like the hour before, and I'm like, oh my God. Or your thoughts, hang on, her thought processes. And she's literally, and it is your creative side. We're talking, and then she'll go, and then I'll go, and I'll wait. And then she'll go, oh yeah, and start again. And I'm like, Helen, this is fine, because I know what it is. I know that this is what is going on in your brain. But for other people who don't know, or vagueness, and I didn't want other people to see you as that. So that's why I said it. And now we've both looked into it. You definitely are, but it's okay. But my sons are. I've looked at my sons, and they are.
I'm actually going to raise it with my GP this afternoon. I don't care. It's
fine.
Actually, what's really interesting that the more you look into it, because I did training on ADHD about 10-15 years ago, and in those days we didn't even contemplate that women could be on that spectrum. So it was like it's a male.
It was all children, wasn't it? It was only
what happens when children become adults? Yeah. So it's only a fairly recent thing that it's become announced that females can have ADHD and can be on the spectrum. Yeah. And I definitely recognise, because we always talk about me being Marmite. Yes, people love me or hate me. Yeah. And now that I'm starting to do more of a dive into being a female with ADHD, it's a trait that, because you're the stuff that comes out your mouth is like, people must think that you're a bit odd sometimes, and it's because you are on 17 different conversations. Yes. And also sometimes you get overwhelmed.
Yeah, completely. And you do. And that is one of your other things that I need to support you with, because you get overwhelmed. And that was a recent thing that I recognised, because one of my sons has Asperger's, and my other two are definitely on the spectrum. And one of them had a lot going on at work, and he was in a meltdown, and he was completely overwhelmed. And you say to me quite often, I'm overwhelmed. I'm stressed, I'm overwhelmed. Yeah. And it's because you've got so much going on. You can't, it's difficult for you to really focus on one thing, because your mind is just all over the place, I think.
Yeah, and it's interesting because that procrastination thing, it's not like I'm avoiding it completely. No. It's like I don't go through normal processes like normal people to get a presentation done. Yeah. So in my head, I visualised even what font it is and colour.
Yeah.
And in my head, it's all there.
Yeah.
And at the moment, it's all kind of spinning around. So I can see the photographs, I can see the flow, I can see which journey I'm going to get to that end message.
Yeah.
I can see all of that, and it only takes and it freaks everybody else out because I do have these strange behaviours.
Yeah.
But I am actually going to speak to my GP about it this afternoon, and I think the answer is so what. And I don't think anybody will care. Do I want a formal diagnosis? Don't really care. This is me, and I've spent all my life having to try to fit in.
Yeah.
And I now think
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, and it explains a huge amount about me.
Yeah, I think that was it with my son. He was so frustrated with what was going on in his mind and how he was not his behaviour, but how he was reacting to things at work, that he was becoming depressed about it, and he looked into it himself. And I think because he's like an engineer and he's got that methodical brain, and because he got that diagnosis, he knows that that's why he is how he is, and it's okay to be like that.
Oh yeah, I'm not bothered.
No.
But it does explain a lot. And the point is, if you can't cope with that, then that's more about you than it is me. Because I have really desperately tried to fit in all my life, and it turns out I'm not very good at that.
But it doesn't matter, we all have our own little nuances, don't we? And our not faults and weaknesses, not even that. We have the different ways of working, and what I do won't be how you do it, and how somebody else does it won't be how you want to do it. And it's about respecting and making allowances for those differences in our lives.
And it is a lovely thing to watch other people, like the way you do things it's lovely to watch. And sometimes I look at it and go, I wish I could be a bit more like that. And then I remind myself that it's never going to happen.
But you're so creative. You'll go, oh, let me just knock this up. And I'm not like that. And you'll see something and you'll knock it up and go, oh, that's lovely. And then I'll pinch one of your photos and I can make something up with those colours.
Yeah.
But for me to start from scratch, I can't do that.
So, now this comes on to the next bit that I'd like to talk about. It takes all sorts to make a great team.
It does.
And I think that is so important for us to all understand. We can't all be the same.
No.
And actually, it's like on a good day, it's the best bits of us, isn't it?
Oh, completely.
And then some days when I'm hyper entrepreneurial and my brain is like being creative. For those that know Chaos, Babs, when she's hyper creative, you guys do 6 hats. We do a different kind of model, but to understand that in certain environments, you need certain different elements of you to bring out the best of a job.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that. So in my team, thank God, we're not all the same. So we've got different skill sets to bring to the organisation. As a business owner, I often have to be all of those things, which is quite a hard thing because you have to be an accountant and you have to be a leader and you have to be a manager. And so a lot of the stuff that leader, yes, but there are other things that I have to do that I don't really sit comfortably with me and my skills, but it's really important. But from a leadership point of view, it's important to be aware of all the different behaviours and really optimise people's behaviours and what they're really good at. Pat's got the patience of a saint. And that is and it is really, really important that Nurse Pat uses that skill a lot to us. So things like helping our customers, like trying to teach them how to use the internet and get online and access courses. You've got a real patience with lots of our customers, and that is a skill that Pat needs to do that because she's Nurse Pat, and her caring and ability to nurture is so good. And she's also a good researcher. So if you so I'll go, I've got an idea or a thought, tell me about this, Pat will go, and she's straight on it. And sometimes it amazes me how quickly she can get the answer. And she's done the research to support like the crazy thinking. So I've got a thing, and then she like gets me the foundations underneath it. So it's all really fascinating stuff. So I used to run a gym, so I just talk about behaviour types and styles of businesses. So let me think. I ran a gym, so my gym was full of fitness instructors. We can't all be the same type of fitness instructor. And that's really important, like hair salons, for example. Like, I don't like going to a hairdresser who is as crazy as me.
Yeah.
Like,
time down, don't you?
Yeah, and it's really nice to have different types of people in salons that have got. Do you agree?
Oh, completely. Yeah, when I go and have my nails done, and I've got a new nail technician, and I was thinking on the way home, I've only met her twice, but we don't stop talking because she's my kind of person, I suppose, and she's so lovely and warm, and she's got a family, and we just talk forever. And like Mel, who is another one of our lovely technicians, and you just talk for an hour, don't you?
Yeah.
And it's not me downloading. We talk about rubbish, normally food, and what we shouldn't eat, or where we've been. Yeah. And it is so nice to have that, and it is our down space, our time down, I suppose, and just resting and relaxing and kind of recovering from our week, and it's nice for them as well. And it's a confidential space as well, because we know that they wouldn't pass that on. It's lovely. It's really important that they aren't the same type as you.
We don't stop talking, do we? So we're here in my office. So this is a nice little space. You don't get to see what's behind me. Actually, it's quite neat. All of it's quite tidy. And there's a lot of writing on walls. And again, that sits with me as a visual person. I need to see stuff. So I'm often reading stuff that's written on walls and just.
And I don't write on walls.
No, you don't.
I write lists. So I have bookfuls of lists that I go back to. But you and Nick both write on walls.
I do like to write on walls, and it just reminds me of what I have to do next, rather than keeping it in a book.
Yeah, and you'll say to me, "What do you think about this?" And I'm not sure. It's not that I'm not sure. I need a day to process it, and then I'll make a decision.
Yeah.
And sometimes you want like an idea or a thought now, and I'm like, no.
But that's one of my traits, because I've probably been sat on that for months.
Yeah.
And not shared it. It's just been going through my mind for ages.
Yeah.
So our offices, we're in an innovation centre, which I really like. I can't stand being in an innovation centre. So this is another crazy ADHD thing, and forgive me, Innovation Centre, they're very nice, and it is really lovely. However, innovation sounds like creation, sounds like invention, and
a buzz going on.
Google offices, Facebook offices, that's what I see. Rules are rules, closed doors, difficult to communicate. They won't change the dog policy. I'd like my dogs to be in here. But then, that's the thing about bending rules, isn't it?
It is. I get the dog policy, though. They've got to have rules for rules. There's some rules for rules' sake.
But there was an article, I shared it with you because I'm really disgruntled about it. I shared an article with you recently about how people have changed since the pandemic, and that more and more people have taken to having pets during lockdown for companionship because they were lonely and they were managing mental health. So now what we've got are all these pets at home and people back in offices, and not all businesses have gone into any kind of flexible working policy. And I think that's quite, I get it. So, I'm not 100% lunatic. I do get it, and I do understand that some places you don't need animals in it. But why? my dogs in here would be fun.
I know, but imagine if every office had, I'd love to bring my dog, but imagine if every office had 2-3 dogs. There'd be 200 dogs in here. It'd be manic. It'd be lush, but it would be manic. There'd be
lush.
Yeah, poo bags everywhere.
Yeah, but look at all that happiness.
I know, it would be lovely.
Look at everyone's mental health.
Yeah, it'd be fabulous.
And
but
you know, the people that, like the one person that doesn't like a dog, they can move out. And the rest of us can all stay in here. Like, I just don't get. But you know, just like I like when we've done these talks before, and I've been at home, and my lunatic animals are, they've all been part of Chaos TV over the last 3-4 years. The cats would be on the yoga mat. The dog, bless her, Poppy, God rest her soul. She would always get involved. And now I've got 2 new dogs. One's 13 months old. And my little baby, she went on the beach for the first time today. But they bring me happiness. So, and also I have this real sense of contentment when they're in their bed next to me, and I'm doing my work, so I'm on my computer, and I can see them there, and I'm writing, and I'm looking, and I'm writing, and I'm happy, and the joy that I feel, and it makes me really happy. So I feel very content when I'm working, and my animals are next to me, and I'm in my little space, and I've got my warm, cozy candle burning, and like, it's just like, so that's the point. Today's session, happiness, joy, cushion, things that just set your soul on fire.
Yeah, go on. Joy.
The last thing I want to talk about is bias, because we've kind of touched upon like me being a bit of a weirdo and being okay with it, but I'm also a 5'10" Amazon. So, it's really interesting because I met a lady the other day, and she said, I've seen you in the gym. And I'm like, well, I've never seen her. And she said, you're very strong. And I'm like, thank you. But I've never seen her. And she said, I see you all the time. Like, how have I missed her? How have I not seen her? So, and I found that really interesting. But so she had an impression of me. And sometimes, so the bias thing, I think is really important, because we don't even know that we're being judgy.
No. And some people, I was told about 20 years ago that somebody thought I was snooty. But it's because I'm quiet. And I didn't know this person very well. So
who is she?
I can't
say.
Do we
know?
No.
You
don't know. No, you won't know her. No, you won't know her.
Okay,
and it was because I hadn't had that much conversation with them. When you don't have anything to say, and I don't think we had the opportunity to talk because we were in a group. So she thought I was snooty. And then when she got to know me, she went, you're not snooty at all. I was like, what? No, I'm not snooty. I'm just quiet. And if there's a group, I'm the shy. Not the shy one. I am quite shy, but I'm the quiet one. And I'm quite happy to watch people chatting.
She says she can't get a word in.
I can't ever. Can I? No. I'm like...
It's true, and I hear you're not what I thought you're like, or they instantly just don't like me because based on somebody else's opinion. They can, you know what, I really don't care, and if you've got a problem, you can call me on 0121 do one.
It's a good number. Put that in your phone.
Your son gave me that phone number.
Yeah.
And I gave it to my mum, and she does it all the time. She 0121 do one. So
you can't be everybody's cup of tea, can you?
No, and some of it is like, who does she think she is? And this came up from a conversation me and Pat were having, and it's a famous story that I tell called Fat Cow. And I have 2 stories. I have another one called Fat Butterfly, and that will come next. But Fat Cow was, I'd lost a lot of weight and become a fitness instructor. But I'm also very tall. I'm never going to be a size, it doesn't suit me, a size 12. People sound gaunt.
You look a bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. So, I've always been strong looking. So I got asked to cover a fitness class. I not long been living in the area. And I pitched up, having never been to this fitness studio before. And if anybody has been to an old a fitness class, often you get a group of perfectionists in the front row. They're the instructors, like worshippers.
Front row
divas. And they know the music, they know the choreography. And if the instructor gets the choreography wrong, they'll do the correct one. And they'll give you like, oh, eye rolling. Well, they were there. The front row divas were there as I walked into the club, into the studio. And I overheard them say, really? This fat cow? She's going to teach us? And absolutely. And it was deliberate. And there was the sniggers that went with it. And they deliberately said it at a pitch that I could hear it. And I just walked past, ignored, and you still got to show up. So in spite of being offended, you still got to go, ta-da, press the music, and like everything's fine. And I thought, well, I've got two ways to deal with this. Actually, the only thing I could do is to kick their asses. And that's literally what I did. So I got to the point where they were like, oh my God, you're amazing. You nearly killed me. That was the hardest class I ever did. Well, it's their own fault because they were mean to me and they said mean words. And it was the only thing I could do. It was like a fitness version of giving them a punch in the nose. And it really hurt my feelings. So I went home and I sobbed. Absolutely broke my heart that night. And I spoke to my husband about it and I said, I will never do well in the fitness industry as long as I am this size. And I must have been a size 14.
Wow, that's terrible, isn't
it? And that's how I felt. And that's how I felt. Living in America, teaching fitness, I never had a problem around my size because I created a course called the Baggy T-shirt program. And I was a size 24 when I started going to fitness classes, and I was going down the scale, and the club said, you've got something, be an instructor, we think you're fab. Who is going to follow me? That was my response. Yeah. And they said, I think you'd be surprised. So very quickly I had a following. There were people who had goals, were on journeys that could connect with me. So it was a wonderful thing. You came to this country and you're a size 14 teaching fitness. Oh my God, I was judged out of that place. And it was a really hard thing to do. So it made me think that we haven't got it right in this country.
No, we completely haven't. And we go into classes now and I feel like I'm the biggest, the oldest, but I have to rock it out, and I am front row diva. I don't tut and I don't comment or criticise the instructor because I blooming love it and I really respect them. But you're made to feel that, well, you're not made to feel, it is how you've experienced those classes. And now I just think, well, I'm here, I'm strong, I can lift these weights, and I've got great technique. So that's what others haven't.
Yeah, so, and I think that's kind of a bit of the moral of the story, that if we feel like that and we have this breadth and depth of knowledge around health and wellness, what does like the regular girl who is, maybe she's returning to exercise after having her babies. She's lost her confidence a little bit, her identity's gone a little bit because she's mum, and she's trying to get back to some kind of time on her own. And if she feels like and she'll be feeling it too.
Well, there was a lady, I don't think I've told you this, class on a Sunday a couple of weeks ago, and we were waiting for the instruction. There was a lady coming in with her husband, and it was packed, and she didn't think there was room, and she was going to walk away, and husband was going in the gym, and I said, come on in, and she said, no, I don't know what to do. And it's my first class, I've not done pump before, and I said, I'll show you. And so waited for the instructor, and so I brought her in, another friend was there, and so between us we helped to get her equipment. We got her set up, and I just said, where are you from, are you on holiday? And she said, yeah, I come here all the time. And she started the class and had a great time, and at the end she went, thank you so much, because she would have walked just because she felt a bit self-conscious, and she didn't know what she was doing. She didn't want to look silly because she didn't know how to set everything up. And she was so grateful. And it was just that one little intervention that made her change tack, and she went to class, and hopefully she felt great all day, and then she'll do another class.
Yeah, and she'll remember that, because most people, over the years, the thousands and thousands of classes we've taught, they will always remember that first time or that first bit of kindness, or the thing that got them going. Mine was, my American girlfriends had invited me to a class, and it was a combat class, and I cried for 60 minutes. I literally was hating. I looked at that bloody clock on the wall, and I can see myself there. I'm in the studio now, and I can see that clock on the wall and thinking, I'm dying, I hate it. At the end of the session, spoke to me, "Are you all right?" I was like, "It was awful." Her name was Amy Kelly. Amy then became my friend, and we're still friends. And she helped me and supported me, mentored me, and then 6 months later I was teaching that goddamn class. So, the real moral of the story is, it's like that shows resilience and stubbornness and sheer grit. And I realised that actually the only person that gets in my way, it was me. And sometimes we need to to help others. If we see that in others, it's like a nod, a wink, a smile. It's that little bit of kindness can completely transform somebody.
And just bring them into your tribe almost. Just saying you're part. It's okay. You can be part of this group, even just for an hour. And just that little step. And I know it happened to me. So when I joined your sessions, and somebody was really kind, and I carried on going. So
and then I made you leave the NHS.
You did.
And I made you come and work for me. And we've never looked back.
We haven't.
Look, I hate this bit because, as we know, you guys could just go on forever, and I love listening to you both as well. And I feel really bad when we have to butt in because we've only got 3 minutes left. But do you know what? When you were talking, both of you talking about Pat, you said somebody thought you were really stuffy. I was like, what? How did they say that about Pat? And Helen, you did exactly the same. And then Helen, you just said about the people who were really rude to you, and I was getting really defensive here in the studio.
You come across it a lot, and I think sometimes, like me and Pat as a business, we talk about shine theory a lot, and how important it is to shine a light on others. So in order to make me shine, I shine a light on Pat, and in order for Pat to shine, she shines a light on me. And it's like that with all women, and it is actually a piece of research from the Obama years. It's a brilliant thing called shine theory. We are in danger of forgetting others. It's so important to help people and get behind them, because we are, we've become a very selfish, we're a very selfish race, and it's all about perfection. And actually the reality is we all need a bit of kindness and to reach out and love each other. That's why we love you guys so much.
That's
lovely.
I watched something on TV the other day. I can't remember what it was. It was Netflix or something, and there was a bit in there. They were saying you need to make other people shine, otherwise that becomes a problem. And then something that happened where they didn't do that, and then I don't know, they took over, and it was all drama and stuff. But I thought that was a really lovely message, that actually we should be making each other shine, not putting each other down. And I know you girls work so hard, certainly in your sector, in your industry. You're always trying to break the mold, make positive change, and it's not easy, is it? Quite often people turn away or go, what on earth is going on there? But you persist on, and you're so positive about that change, which I love.
And people won't even know it now today, but in 10 years time they'll go, oh yeah, they used to talk about that all the time. It's like we were leading the way.
Well, luckily, we've got literal gigabytes and hours of your positivity over the years. So, we're like, well, we told you guys, we told you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming on. I feel like we're going to have a Pat and Helen Chaos Extra channel or something. It's just going to have to continuously simulcast because they just go for it. We will catch you up with you very soon. How can people get in touch, reach out and gain some more of this positivity, please?
Always contact us on info@iCareiMove.com. And you can call us at the studios 0800 0541 118. Social media, we're everywhere. So Helen Tight, spelled Helen Tit with an E. Tite.
Love it.
Pat Taylor, iCareiMove. You'll find us all over the social media platforms. But please, we really want others to get in touch with us. We really support it and love it, and always up for a cup of tea or an espresso martini.
Yeah, definitely.
Or a glass of wine,
chat about something.
A bit of cake, anything. Yeah, come and natter. We love you.
Thank you, guys. Take care. Love you lots.
Thank you. Bye.